Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome back to my Supergirl episode review. My thoughts on tonight's episode of Supergirl titled Ace Reporter. And it's going to be back after like that month-long break all the DC shows took. Well, except for Legends of Tomorrow, because Legends of Tomorrow is now over. But they got back with a really strong episode, in my opinion, because like this episode was very story-driven. It was like kind of like a self-contained episode, but I liked the story, and I liked the actor in it playing Jack, who's I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I know he's of iZombie, and he's always seemed very charismatic, and he's very like fanboy. He's very like the kind of guy you'd want in one of these shows. And I thought he did a really great job in tonight's episode because he played like you thought he was gonna be like you see him and you're like, oh, he's gonna be the bad guy in this episode, and there was more to it than that, and I really liked that. And I always like seeing more of Lena Luthor because Lena Luthor is one of my favorite characters of this season. And I like seeing Katie McGrath come back all the time. And I know like in this episode especially they're like hinting more towards her kind of going on a darker path and her potentially... I know it was like a little subtle in this episode, but they're kind of like leaving little seeds that she might end up being bad towards the end of the season or even later on. And I know because she's a Luthor that it's a very good possibility that she'll end up being bad, but I feel like it would suck because I'm liking her so much. I love her chemistry with Kara, and I liked seeing the two of them just being so friendly, and having Kara to have a best friend outside of, you know, they just hang out with Monel and Alex all the time. Well, I love Alex, and it was weird not seeing much of Alex in this. And we didn't even see Maggie. We didn't even see her. It's been a while since the show's been on. Yeah, so it was weird not seeing Maggie or even much of Alex or even Jean in this episode. So it was really pretty much just a Kara and Lena kind of episode. And I'm not having very many complaints because I like the two of them. But I would have like to see a little more of what was going on with, you know, Jean and Alex. Not so much of Wynn and his girlfriend. And the first episode with Wynn's girlfriend that I've been like I'm not super into her character at this point. Because for a while I was, like, she seemed interesting, and it was cool for Wynn to have someone to be, like, to have someone to spend time with and for him to have a girlfriend. But I just feel like it's just the way they wove it into the story of this episode, I feel like it wasn't the best fit. While it was great seeing Guardian and James again, James has also been one of my favorite characters this season, and I like his turn as Guardian now. Because I think it's made it very interesting, and it gives him something to do that I think is really cool. And I'm really, really excited to see what they do with his storyline moving forward. So I'm really excited for that. And I like seeing James again, even though it wasn't too much banter. It was just kind of the back and forth of like them going on the field with Lyra being there. And then there's like a bit of tension in the bar because of when telling him that Jim just want her around. And then everything's fine by the end of the episode with them. And that's like, okay, whatever. But the whole meat of this episode, you know, with everything with Jack and Kara trying to get to the story and Snapper kind of being a dick the entire episode. And I thought, well, the visuals, obviously the CGI in this episode wasn't the best. I thought it was pretty good for the little nanite things. I can't remember the name of them off the top of my head. But I do like the fact that, like, the kind of the little twist there was with the villain. Because, of course, you think it's Jack the entire episode. And while it kind of is, he's not in control of his actions. And it's like the person who's, like, been, like, funding this product who's, like, in control of him and killing these people. Well, I thought that made it a little more interesting, and it's cool seeing more like female villains because I feel like sometimes you see too much of this generic male villain, so it's cool seeing someone a little interesting. While there wasn't necessarily too much to her character at all, it's just cool seeing more just different villains than we've seen in the past. And again, while there wasn't much to her, it was just I liked seeing diversity in their villains, and that's just what I like to see as a fan. And again, I just going back to Katie McGrath, she has been so great as Lena this season because when they first cast her, I'm like, okay, I mean, because I'd only ever seen her in like Jurassic World, and she got like killed in that movie, like pretty early on. Spoiler alert for Jurassic World, but she's done a great job, and for someone who like grew up watching Smallville and was so used to like the Tess Mercer version of the character from that show, who was the Lena Luthor of that show, she was like Lutessa Lena Luthor. This version they're almost like this show in a lot of ways is mimicking or mirroring Clark and Lex's relationship, or just Clark's heroics and life in general. So they are very much so mimicking Clark and Lex's relationship with Kara and Lena, which isn't a bad thing because it makes for more when she goes bad, like it'll make it a little more emotional because there's that emotional tie of like them being friends. And obviously I feel like she's gonna want Kara to be on her side, and Kara's gonna say no, I can't, and then that's gonna create this this break between the two, and I think it's gonna make for interesting storytelling if they decide to go down that route, which it seems like they are. Which, since they ended this episode with that tease of Mon-El's mom coming in to have some sort of business deal with Lena, which I thought was a little weird because just seeing her dressed up like that and just like what, of all people, why Lena Luthor? I don't know. I guess they'll explain that in the next episode, but all in all, I thought this was a really good and entertaining episode for this being the first episode that the show's back. And I liked all the stuff with Kara and being, because of the first episode, I think Kara's actually been a good reporter. Because we saw all this stuff going throughout the episode of all these guys getting killed, and she's actually going out there to get this story. And even though like Snapper's kind of like in her way and being a dick, like she's still, no matter what he says or is doing, she's trying to prove herself to be a good reporter. And in the end, she gets her job back at Catco. And I knew it was her being jobless was gonna last forever, but I'm glad this by the end of the episode that he's just like Snapper, like even though he's not being really nice about it, I feel like he's trying to bring out the good reporter in Kara. That's all he's been trying to do, is to push her to that point. And now that she's at that point, he's like finally. So again, while he's not necessarily going about it the best way, I do like how that bit of the episode wrapped up. And again, I'm just looking forward to the rest of the season. I mean, now we have Tyler Hoechlin coming back as Superman, and I know I said before when he was first on the show that I didn't mind him as much. I'm honestly not really looking forward to him coming back, because I just feel like the more I've watched those episodes with him in it, the more I see of just the Reeve era Superman that I don't want to see. Not that I hate Christopher Reeve or anything. Like, he was, one of the best Superman out there. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like with Tyler Hoechlin, there's just so much of the Christopher Reeve in there that's like, to me, it's so hard to get that out of his portrayal, because he's not really being much of his own Superman. And then he's like threatening to kill Metallo, which is really out of character. But then people are like, oh, then you're wearing a Man of Steel shirt, and then Superman killed in that movie. Those are different circumstances. And this is still, and the DCEU Superman's still brand new to being Superman, whereas this one in Supergirl is like been Superman for 12 years, and he's starting to kill a criminal. Now, I think that's more out of character than a guy who just started being Superman within the last couple of years. So and again, I'll watch the episode, more than likely I'll like it. If there's any problems with it, you guys will definitely hear from me. But I'm looking forward to seeing Cat Grant, and I'm looking forward to the finale in general, to see how this whole Cadmus thing wraps up, everything with Mon-El's mom wraps up, and Lena and all this stuff. I'm excited for that. Not necessarily excited to see Superman back, but whatever. That's not a deal. I mean, I'm not like hating it. I just would prefer that he was in the finale. Because again, I want this to be more of a Supergirl show, because I feel like when Superman's there, he kind of takes the spotlight away from Kara, and it's like, oh, Superman's in the show, is he going to get a spinoff? And I really hope they don't give him a spinoff, because frankly, I don't think Tyler Hoechlin deserves it, and we already have Superman in the movie, so there's no point in doing it. But sorry to go on a little bit of a rant there. It wasn't much of a rant, but you guys know what I mean. So with that being said, I think that's going to be it for me. So what do you guys think of this latest episode of Supergirl? Send your thoughts in the comments section below. Give this video a thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button for all the other content I put on my channel. Last week, I did a review in reaction to the brand new trailer for the upcoming sci-fi series Krypton. You guys can check that out, as well as all the stuff I did for Star Wars Celebration, to the Rebels trailer and the Last Jedi trailer. You guys can check those out. And later this week, I will be reviewing all the other DC shows like Flash and Arrow, since those will be coming back as well. You guys can check those out when those drop on my channel. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, have a good one.